तू चलता चल तू चलता चल तू चलता चल.
Today we have with us Vaishnavi KN along with her sister Shambhavi. She enrolled with us and she had been continuously conducting activities, managing groups, multiple groups in fact. We will get to know about her experience. First of all, congratulations on our recommendation from Naval SSP.
Thank you.
Please share with us your previous attempts, if any, and what had been your journey? What motivated you towards the armed forces?
Ma'am, to begin with, this was my 6th attempt. My first attempt was at 2AFSB Mysore. I got conference out from there, and my second attempt was at the same place again, screen out. And then I went to Bhopal for Army Tech. That was my third attempt, screen out again. And then Bhopal again for Army Tech, conference out. And then Allahabad, again SSC Tech Army, conference out. This was my 6th attempt at 12 SSB Bangalore, and this is the first time I got recommended.
And please tell us something regarding this recommendation round, starting from the screening process, one by one. Share with us the experience that you had.
Ma'am, to begin with, we were scheduled to report on the 6th of February at 6 a.m. at 12 SSB Bangalore. I was there around 5-ish. I had a sound sleep the previous night. I had gone with a very open mindset this time. We were about 146 of us reporting. And then we had some document verification and all that procedure. Following this was the OIR test. Both the sets were comparatively simple compared to my previous attempts at Bhopal and Allahabad. These had very basic questions regarding series, cubes, pattern matching, error correction, jumble segments, and all of that. It went fine for me. I completed it well within time. And then we had PPDT. For the picture perception, I took about 3 minutes to write the story, and I used the last 1 minute to revise whatever I had written to go through my story. And then we were divided into groups of 15 each. During that time gap between the discussion and the picture perception, I used that time to revise my story and to include only the key points so that I don't run out of time when I'm given a chance to narrate my individual story. And then we were given a chance. My narration came out very decent. I was very confident and fluent, which gave me a chance to put forth myself confidently even in the discussion. The group was not divided. All 15 were asked to speak and discuss together to come to a common consensus. I gave around 3 points. It went fine. There was not much chaos this time. After this, the screening process happened in which around 45 of us got screened in. So that was about the first day. Second day morning, we had psychology test. I completed all the TAT. The last blank slide story was well prepared. I had prepared for it beforehand, so that was not an issue. That I was able to write all of them. SRT, I wrote about 47 of them. And then for self-description, I had gone prepared beforehand. There wasn't much that I wrote. There were about 4 points for each. Generally, we get 3 sheets to write. I filled about 1 page of it and 2 lines in the next. So that went decent for me. Following this was the GTO next day. It started around 7-ish and first GD began. The thing I felt was this time it was not very conventionally held. Like there was no choice. It was GD. Generally, we get 2 topics and we have to pick one. But instead, the GTO gave us 1 topic without any leads. We were to come up with our own ideas. It turned out only 2 of us were on one side out of the 8, and 6 of them were speaking on another lead. It was decent. Again, I was able to give 3-4 points. I tried not to constantly speak so that when I spoke, I got a good chance. I was trying to find better gaps. And then it was the second GD. This is the point from which I felt my GTO was going from decent to bad, because the second topic was, should SSB be held together for male and female candidates? 7 of them said yes. I said no. And once I had picked the lead, I firmly believed in it. So I did not want to change, but at the same time, I felt sort of left out. But now the advantage is that since 7 of them were speaking for yes, at some point they were running out of points, content. But since I was the only one for no, and I was not fighting for a chance in the beginning, I had enough content. So I was able to easily put forth my points. We were about 2 or 3 minutes into the GD when the GTO stopped the discussion. He started pinpointing and asking everybody why was it that we picked that lead. It began with me, and yeah, in my head it was only one thing: I have to stick to my lead and justify what I've been speaking for, and not change just because the team is asking me to justify. And then this happened with a few other candidates. Next we had, and then in GP again, sir did not read out the narrative or explain the diagram and all. He was like, "Sare to repeaters, so you would have gone through this multiple times. I'll let you do the job." He gave us the narratives and then he left. But since at NFA we are used to doing this every week, it wasn't much of a difficult task for me. I used the same tabular form. I was able to complete it before time, and then I went through my solution again to check if I've left out something. That was done, and then we went on to the discussion part. In the discussion, the advantages, while some of them were unable to complete entirely, and I had a clear mindset as to what I want to pitch in for the group to decide on. It was very helpful that I knew my solution beforehand. And at some point when I felt the discussion was running long on the first problem itself, I started summarizing things so that we can move further. So that sort of helped me catch some people's ideas, their attention as well. I was able to give 3-4 points there as well. So that was the end. And then one person was nominated. But the problem was during the discussion, we did not have enough time to go on to the time and distance calculation part. So once the common narration was done, the GTO started asking us questions regarding the distance calculation and the timing part. He gave me multiple chances to answer. So I gave some points regarding this as well. That was done, and then it was PGT. Now again, to be very honest, it went very bad for me, ma'am, because we had 3 sets in the PGT. First one, everybody knows, is a very simple bridging task. But for some reason, I felt I was very hyper and I was giving too many solutions. I was able to give the solution, and then everybody were able to give the solution. So we wasted a lot of time in deciding which solution was to be put forth. While all of them were workable, we could have just decided on one. When we went on to the second one, I restricted a little because I felt I was over participative in the first task. I gave a solution. It was not accepted by the group. So I stood quietly helping them execute theirs. So we were about 12-13 seconds into the task. The GTO stopped everybody again. He pointed out, I was test number 18. He pointed out and he said, 18, you have 5 seconds to execute this. I executed, but the point was, then he questioned me, if you knew the solution, why were you blindly standing and looking? Why did you not help the group move forward? That is, I explained that I had given solutions which were not accepted. So I was waiting for the group to put their solution. I was listening. And then he was like, "Bas yahi karte raho, kone mein khada hona hai aap logon ko, ye wo," and all that started. But then I knew if I feel bad at this, I might ruin my performance further. So I let it go at that. Third one, again, I was active, proactively giving solutions, executing what the others were trying to say. And then in the end, since our solution was not the best, the GTO said, if 1% can cross, I will grant you this. Otherwise, you'll have to change. So it was a little elevated platform. I felt since nobody is going forward, I can use this as an opportunity. I volunteered to cross, and then we were able to, the group helped me move forward. So that happened, PGT was done, and then it was HGT. In HGT, it was very smooth, ma'am. We were 4 in a group. We were able to complete the first obstacle. And then in the second one, the GTO was like, वैसे भी मैंने अब तक तो तुम लोगों को देख लिया. You will anyway not be able to come up with a solution for this. I'll give you a clue, then you can begin. So we used the clue, and then we were able to bridge it. That was about HGT. And then we had GOR. GOR was very fine. All of us were repeaters. Our physical fitness was decent, and some of the obstacles were removed also. So it went very fine for us. And then it was lecture. This is the moment I had a lot of gratitude for NFA, because the moment the lecture started, generally I wait for that one easy topic to be there so that I can pick. But now when people took turns to speak, I felt very confident. I could have spoken about any of the topic. That was the level I was prepared for. Given that we have to speak for 3 minutes, I felt very confident about any topic if given. Then I got my turn. I picked one of them. In this time, since I had content, I used the 3 minutes to organize and decide in what order I want to speak, what are the things I want to cover. And then at the mark of 2.5 minutes, I started concluding and giving my point of view to the same and then the way forward. At dot 3 minutes, I was done. And then it was turn for individual obstacle. Yeah, all the obstacles were explained to us, and then we were taken to the ground and told that the rules and all of that. But one thing was, he had told Ki, if you have touched any obstacle by the end of the time, you get to complete it before you leave. So in my head, I was extra smart. I thought if I can do, generally I do 7 obstacles. So let me complete those and then touch one so that he gives me extra time. So yeah, I did 7 of them. 8th one was Tiger's Leap. Now when I ran and touched, time was up anyway, but the next girl started from there. So I did not get a chance to do it. I was returning. Then the GTO called me back. He was like, do you not remember the rules? I told you were supposed to complete. Did you touch? I said, yes. I was like, then what are you waiting for? I said, shall I? And then he asked me to complete that. So I'm not sure if the 8th one is counted. So 7 I had done by then. And then it was command task. Command task me, I was called once by another group mate. And then third one was me. I picked one of the group mates. I went for the task. It was a bomb diffusion task. But the 3 entry points were not allowed. We were restricted to 1. I almost gave the solution, but then there was one part missing. I had to use a load on the other end, which I did not realize. The GTO gave me a clue, and then I did the game. So, and then we had final group task that was very decent, ma'am. Again, most of us coordinated well. There was no issue with that. It went on fine. Following this, this was the end of day 3 technically. And then the next day morning, I had my interview. I was the first one in the batch. I had wait for like about 30-35 minutes, and then I was called. Now that I've given 4 attempts, I was sort of, it had been imprinted in my mind, it will start with this, these will be the questions. So that part went fine, where I started with my education, my family, friends, teachers, favorite subjects, any difficulties, financial difficulties in family, and all of this. So until here, it was fine. And then he started with the technical questions. Technical was again fine. The point is, after I would start answering, he was not letting me complete my answers. Midway, he would stop and ask me another. I have this compulsive need to complete my answer. So I was sort of containing myself and giving how much he has asked me to. That happened, and then I was questioned. There was this one point where he asked me multiple times, why defense? You have you're doing your master's, you have cleared GATE, you're getting a good stipend, you've worked on paper writing, content writing, and research field as well. Why defense when you can earn more there and you're kind of settled in that field? My answer was 1K, I want the uniform and that, like, so I'll keep doing it. So multiple times when he asked also, I kept repeating the same, and then he was like, okay, fine. That happened, and then yeah, so that was it, ma'am. And then there were questions about why it took you so many attempts, why do you think you couldn't make it, what are the changes you've done, and all that. So that happened. That was the end of my interview. He said, you've been fairly frank about your journey. It was nice talking to you. I replied with the same, and then that was done. Next day was conference. We all got ready. I was the 18th candidate. The 17th one came out, and I was not called for about 20 minutes. So I just kept waiting and waiting. And then once I was called inside, it started with, tell us about your previous attempts. What were your mistakes in the last 5 attempts? That happened. Starting psychology and then GTO and then interview. Tell us your mistakes in each of those. I was just brushing through and giving common mistakes that I can improve upon. Then at GTO, he stopped. He asked me, start with the first GD. Tell us the improvements you can do in individual tasks. Then I started with the GD1 and then GD2. I completed all of them. For GPE, there were multiple questions. Why was the timing not discussed? What was your solution? What was your contribution? There were multiple details asked there. And then again about PGT was like, why did you stop giving solutions? The same thing that I had done there was asked again. I repeated my answers. So towards the end, he asked a few technical questions again. And then the routine, how was your stay? How was the food? And all of that was asked. And then I was sent out. At this moment, I I had felt very satisfied that my conference has changed from how was your stay and food to some questions. This was a huge change, huge improvement for me. So at this moment, I was very grateful to whatever God has given me. I was like, इस बार अगर नहीं हुआ तो भी I am mentally prepared to come back and not break down or give up at this point. I was very grateful. I was like, जो होगा देखा जाएगा. And I was out. And then we were made to call in after the end of conference. He gave a closing address, and then the candidates' chest numbers were being announced. He said, well, if your chest number is called, you'll come forward, give your name, and stand towards the side. I had no hopes, but I was not expecting to come out as well. I was somewhere in the middle. कि होगा तो हो जाएगा, नहीं तो कोई बात नहीं. So yeah, 2 people were called, and the third one was mine. The moment my chest number was called, starting with my name, I forgot everything. The words ceased to exist for me. I was very grateful for having come this long way and having made it in my 6th attempt. And then one of my friends very kindly prompted my name. She was like, this is your name, please. And then I told my name. I went to the side. After that, for the first ever time, I got to wear a chest number with plus sign. I was plus 44. Yeah, that is about this journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the elaborate discussion that you, narration that you gave us. Please tell us something regarding your preparation part. You said that in the lecturate part you were prepared. So what kind of preparation was needed, and what NFA and NFA activities and group activities help you in that process?
Ma'am, it was after my 5th attempt at Allahabad that I decided to join NFA. After my first interaction with sir, all that sir had told was that there is no special demerit. There is nothing very bad about you. It is just that you need to improve on whatever you're doing. You lack confidence in spite of knowing things. So these were a few things that sir had noted, told for me to work upon. For the physical fitness, I used to do running. I continued that, but alongside, I started working on my upper body fitness as well, like sir had suggested. Alongside this, for confidence, I felt the lack of confidence was due to lack of content. I was unaware of a lot of things, starting with current affairs, general knowledge, and all of this, organizing skills in lecturate and all of that, because of which I lacked content. Now that I had been participating regularly for the first 1 month, I was participating in NFA 15, NFA 30 and 31, 32. So that since the first day, the best part about being a part of the activities is there is nobody to sit and tell you that for an image like this, you need to write this story. These are the sort of contents you need to include. It is about trial and error. You participate, you get feedback from your teammates, and then you work upon them by yourself and you figure out what is best for you. So there is no set of norms that are to be followed, 10 things to get recommended. This is not the journey. You figure out what is best for you. So the first 1 month was very helpful for me to understand where I needed to work. Alongside this, being a part of GD and lecturate, it gave me a chance to understand what the other's point of view is. That is when I realized that in GD, it is not about presenting facts. It is about presenting your point of view on the facts that adds an advantage that talks for your side. So this is how the activities were very helpful. And then from January, I started coordinating for NFA 24, 25, and 16. It is not expected, but one starts to assume that they are in a very responsible position. So now I started working more upon gathering content beforehand so that if given a chance, I should be in a position to give information about it. And then I started taking up turns to present contents in the weekly sessions, the bi-weekly sessions that are conducted by NFA as well. And then I started observing people because many of them used to participate. So now I was put in a more observant position to understand what the other's point of view is. So this has been a journey of learning through my mistakes as well as the others and improving myself. Alongside this, not to forget, ma'am, I've been regularly in touch with Nehru sir. And it is not that every week when I call, sir has new things to tell. There's that assurance that he gives us that there's a hope for you. Ultimately, there is something that is coming in your way. That is all that I needed. Somebody for me to tell I was on the right path. And with every week, sir telling me it was going fine, I was becoming more and more confident that probably there was some hope for me.
I was only just going to ask you that question about your personal interactions with Nehru sir. You told this on your own. Thank you. Please tell us. People have this doubt, especially in technical entries, and you have been recommended in technical and that too electrical, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Electrical, GS electrical. So please tell us something regarding this core subject. कितना पता होना चाहिए? क्या क्या पूछते हैं? You said that interviewing officer did ask you the technical questions.
Ma'am, mostly the thing is what I did this time was I went through the job role that was put up on the Navy website itself. And from the content that is mentioned, I started working upon the principles of working of radar, sonar, whatever is mentioned in the job role. I wanted to be prepared for all those aspects. So starting with the working of radar, sonar, basics of communication. I'm from electronics and communication, so I gave importance more towards the communication part since I was asked more on that. I have prepared for GATE earlier, so the basics were not a problem for me. Starting with basic modulation techniques, basics of math and physics, it went on up to the working of submarines, sonars, Doppler effect radars, and all of that, satellites as well. So I think for one to start their preparation with, it must be very related to what the job role demands. Whatever is given there, at least that you must be aware of the working principles of that and the kinds or whatever is happening currently related to those. So that was what I worked
Mm-hmm. Okay. And about your experience in MTech VLSI design, do you wish to say something regarding that? Because that is something that is not pursued so widely. Embedded systems.
That was a backup option that I picked because I was not very sure about SSB, so I had just picked it up. About a year ago, I cleared GATE. This year, I took MTech admissions for MTech. The branch is mainly because it has wide scope, placements are good from the money point of view and the exposure point of view. I picked the subject. Alongside this, there isn't anything specific.
Okay. So how did last question, practical guidebook to become an officer help you?
It has answered questions probably I did not think of. There are certain things I had assumed about, there were misconceptions about the SSB process, and such misconceptions that I was very confident those were the norms. I had put this in my head, it was fixed that this is how it was and this is what I need to do. But one read through the book helped me understand, clear all my misconceptions and to stop thinking from the assessor's point of view. Generally, what I used to do is write an answer and then forget my point of view about it, think what the assessor might think about it, and then add things to impress the assessor. This was one very bad thing, a misconception I had. The day I started reading the book, particularly the SSB part, it helped me get over this myth and stop worrying for someone's acknowledgement and start working on it from a personality point of view. And the beginning chapters, they help me improve in life in general. Forgetting SSB, I mean, keeping it aside for a minute also, in life, I've been able to get a lot more work done in a day than how much I used to get done earlier. So that has been a very good change that I've experienced.
Okay, thank you so much. Now I give it to Nehru, sir.
Congratulations, Vaishnavi. We have been talking regularly, not just you and your sister. So it's been a very good experience interacting with both you girls.
Thank you, sir.
Very diligent, very good students, going by the things that I have been advising, following them nicely. तो ये बताओ वैष्णवी, कब आपको लगा कि यार ये कहाँ आपने तैयारी की थी, क्या रास्ते इस्तेमाल किए थे? ये 5 अटेम्प्ट में जब बात बनी नहीं थी तो अब आपने डिसीजन लिया कि यार आप नो फ्रिल्स एकेडमी में चलते हैं.
Sir, starting with my first attempt, it was a very vague notion कि SSB में वो दिखाओ जो assessor देखना चाहता है, and this has been my mindset since until my 4th attempt. So those were the mistakes eventually I got rid of because I had been following NFA on YouTube even before I took up the course. So that was one thing that eventually over a period of time, I got rid of those mindsets. But the fact that fitness levels are not something you work upon by hitting the gym. It is something you can do right with running. You can start working on it at an individual level. There's no need for professional guidance. These are not things that were in my head. So I had sort of neglected कि अब मैं gym नहीं जा सकती. So that is not a thing I want to work upon. Had been my mindset. That is one thing. Secondly, I had thought that practicing psychology tests will help me enhance my imagination, or tag story में भर के I can add OLQs had been my mindset. That I had heard you say not to do that in the videos on YouTube as well, but no, I was very adamant. I thought that is true, that might work for some people. I will practice and go, my writing skills will improve, my speed will improve, and then I'll have fresh ideas. I used to note down different ideas so that I can fix it at some image at some point. These are certain things I got rid of by my 5th attempt. But after having worked on all of this, again, I got confidence out in my 5th one. That is when I felt like there was something that I was, introspection was not helping me analyze. That is when I felt I needed guidance and understanding where I'm going wrong, and not somebody to tell me what to, not put ideas into my head. I wanted somebody to tell me, to show me the direction so that I could work upon it. And that is when I joined NFA. And exactly like I said, you did not give me solutions to the problem. You just showed me the way. You asked me to work upon it if I wanted to get selected. So, and then it has been this journey.
Good, fine. आपने रियलाइज किया कि जब आपका ये कॉन्फ्रेंस भी हुआ, वहां पे इतने सवाल पूछे गए, जीटीयू ने भी बीच में बोला था आपको कि जब आइडिया है तो दे क्यों नहीं रहे, द इशू ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस एंड सेल्फ बिलीफ आर स्टिल नॉट अप टू द रिक्वायर्ड लेवल.
That is true, sir. I did feel that, not just there, at multiple times when I have a point of view and then I restrain myself thinking, what if the group does not accept? At every point, I've realized that my confidence is still not up to the mark. But then there's some satisfaction that at least to this level I've opened up. There is still a lot of scope of improvement. So I'm just happy that there has been some improvement.
तो इतना ग्रुप्स को आप कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहे हो ओवर सम पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, still this was inadequate to build up your confidence.
I'm not sure why that is happening, sir, but yes, even today I feel I'm a little underconfident in a lot of aspects.
So but you are on the path towards growth as far as this aspect is concerned.
I've reached, to some extent I've improved, but then I can see a long way forward, and then there's a lot for me to work upon. But I see this as something that this at least gives me an assurance that I'm on the right path. There is some improvement, so there is a scope of improvement in future.
Good, very fine. So you have explained your inner thoughts, shared your inner thoughts in a very, very open manner. And to that extent, your, whatever you have spoken today is going to be very valuable for the students of No Frills Academy, as also all those who watch on YouTube. Like you are also watching some of our sessions in the past. So there'll be some girl sitting somewhere like you would be listening someday to Vaishnavi and thinking, "Ha, yaar, main bhi aisa karti to theek hota hai," and all that. Maybe she gets success because of that, and that would be the very good part. तो मेरे पास कोई और सवाल तो नहीं रहे हैं. Just open your inner self a little more and share as to what advice you have for the aspirants.
Sorry, sir, I didn't get that part.
What would be your advice to the aspirants? क्या बहुत मुश्किल काम है सेलेक्ट हो जाना SSB में? क्या है सब कुछ? What is your take on it?
मुश्किल तो नहीं है, sir. But I think unknowingly people bring in hurdles for themselves because they are not aware of what SSB is. They build in a lot of misconceptions about it, which cause a hindrance in their journey. To be very frank, I think at some point one must stop looking at things from the assessor's point of view. Restrict to being, let them do their job, you do your job. Work not for SSB, work to be a better person every day. It has to come from within, that I've used this day efficiently and I'm satisfied. That has to be a thing every day. And with this mindset, I don't think there's anything extra required for SSB. Of course, these current affairs, general knowledge, newspaper reading, these are additional things. But even if for a moment I forget, I keep it aside, there are a lot of other things one can do without specially preparing for SSB. So in my opinion, stop worrying so much about SSB that you start bringing in unnecessary things and just go in with open.
Thank you very much. I have nothing further to ask. You have done all of us proud. I'm sure your elder sister would follow suit very soon. She is also absolutely on the right track. Now you are open to questions from other students. I will request your elder sister to ask the first question.
Congratulations, Vaishnavi.
Thank you.
Sir, I don't have any question as such, but I would like to say one thing. I thought she would cover this in her, like whatever experience she shared. She has always believed in hard work. No matter what has happened, put in the efforts, then expect results has been her motto. Not just now, since the schooling days. It has always been, if I am putting in 100%, only then I'm expecting the result. Otherwise, she won't even whine about it. No, I didn't do enough. I didn't get it. That has been. So I think that is one of the very good parts, like something I take from her always. I look up to her in those aspects. Okay, I didn't do it, so I didn't get it. Learn to be like her in this. So something I admire about her.
Good, good.
This is not something I get to hear every day. I'm very thankful you asked this question, sir. Thank you, Shambhavi.